Okay, cameras rolling. Mm. Well, this is episode 2 of Rambling Nostalgia Bits. And as I'd mentioned in the last video, I was going to do one about media play. Now, this is a really good one to talk about here. Media play um, pretty much now exists as FYE, for your entertainment. It's a movie store chain that's in a bunch of like malls and stuff, but there's not a whole bunch of those around. So they're still around. I've done a little research into like what happened to the company after they shut down and they kind of got bought up by some other company and their assets were rebranded and turned into FYE apparently. But anyway, I'm going to talk about my personal experience going to media play when I was a kid. Uh, when I was little, probably I would say this is back in 2001. Whenever I would go to Hickory in my state, Hickory, North Carolina, uh, we had a media play that was right beside um, Toys R Us. Yeah, Toys R Us. And a comic store called Time Tunnel Comics. Not the new one, the original. Uh, whenever I used to go there, they always would have anything you would be looking for that would range from DVDs. They had some used VHSs back then. They had vinyl records, CDs, cassette tapes, video games from Game Boy all the way up to the original Xbox, GameCube, PS2, PS1, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, and even some early Nintendo DS stuff. But by the time the DS was probably in its early life cycle, they closed down. But, excuse me, whenever I went there, I would always look for Godzilla, Yu-Gi-Oh DVDs, um, a couple video games. That's where I got Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King for the original Xbox. But the sad part about getting that game was I'd picked that up during their liquidation sale whenever they were completely going out of business when they were selling everything at the time. Some really odd pickups that I found in Media Play was Gappa, the Trihibian or Phibian monster. It's a Godzilla kaiju kind of ripoff film done by a very little known Japanese production company from I think it was in the 60s, late 60s maybe. I can't think of their name, but I got the original DVD around here somewhere. But uh, whenever Sony was putting out the Millennium and Heisei Godzilla movies on DVD, I had got a box set there at Media Play for my birthday. It was like the biggest 50th anniversary Godzilla box set that they had. I think it was the 50th anniversary. It might have been 54th or something like that. But anyway, it had like a shit ton of the Heisei films and practically all of the Millennium films, except for Final Wars, which hadn't come out at that time, which was like 2003. It didn't drop here to like late '04 or early '05. But one thing that was really cool about Media Play, whenever you'd go in there and like look in the knickknacks and stuff like that, I recall like finding a really odd item that I vaguely remember. It was a Alien 3. It was like the Alien. Whenever it turns into a chest burster, but as it matures, before it becomes a full grown alien, they had like a infant or something like that, an infant Alien 3 runner xenomorph plush that had like wire inside of it. So it was basically a posable plush, like a posable stuffed animal. I remember seeing that like on a off shelf, like somewhere in the back. I think it was like $60. That's one odd item that I can recall. But I remember looking in the used DVD section, and I was looking for some like horror, and that was where I got my first DVD copy of Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure that's exactly where I found it, in the used DVD section. And I found a really cheeseball 1950s movie called The Monster That Challenged the World. A really shitty black and white movie about some kind of giant worm or something. It's really stupid. But I had found a bunch of the Gamera movies there. I found a box set that had Gamera, Gappa, uh, Yongare, the monster from the deep. Um, I said the Gamera movies already, so the giant Gila monster or Gila monster, however you want to say it. I'd got a Godzilla CD from there. It was the Heisei, the best of Godzilla from the Heisei era soundtrack. I still got that somewhere behind me on my shelf here. Um, my dad got a bunch of things from there too, a bunch of CDs. That's where I found Rodan on DVD. One of my favorite kaiju movies from the late 50s that Toho done after Godzilla. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but Media Play was the greatest movie store of all time. I mean, you could go there and find anything. I've never been to any kind of Suncoast, uh, Suncoast Video or something like that. I've never been to one of them. I've heard about them. They're like one of the most nostalgic movie stores out there, but I'm pretty sure they don't exist anymore. But neither does Media Play, sadly. But hell, I'm just rambling. I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about because I'm not getting any ideas about Media Play right now. But for my next video, I think I'm probably going to talk about Toys R Us, maybe. Might talk about comic shops. I might even talk about the original Time Tunnel comics. The original one. Or I might talk about Manifest Records. I don't know. It just depends on how far I decide to ramble on with this series of videos. Comment down below if you got any nostalgic memories about Media Play. God, I sure do miss Media Play every day. I remember talking to my buddy Dylan about Media Play all the damn time when I first met him. It's one of the most nostalgic places that you will ever go to. But sadly, going to FYE isn't exactly the same as going to a Media Play. all I can say is if you remember going to media play, as soon as you'd go through them doors, you would get overwhelmed like going into KP Toys with so much stuff that it would just blow you down and you'd be like, oh my God, there's so much shit. I have to buy it all. It's so awesome. That's the feeling that you would get when going to media play. If you was looking for something, them fuckers sure as hell would have it. Every time. I guarantee you that. I think I just said I was going to end this a minute ago. Well, anyway, thanks for watching and look forward to whatever I decide to shoot out for the next one. So, thanks for watching.